The story of the film takes place in China in 1868, a period that was one of the most difficult for the Chinese people because of the spread of corruption in the country. Prostitution and the enslavement of human beings spread widely. The law disappeared, and anyone who dared to denounce the gangs was killed, and his body was thrown into the sea. We moved to the port, which was dominated by two gangs and not a third, namely the Black Tiger Gang and the North Sea Gang, who had made the inhabitants of the city serve them like slaves. The Black Tiger Gang did not settle for controlling the port, but also opened prostitution dens, gambling halls, and drug trade as well. And each of these activities had a person in charge among the three tigers, while the leadership of the gang belonged to Master Li, who wanted to recruit a fourth tiger to take charge of the gang's affairs. He summoned a group of powerful warriors who had served the Black Tiger for more than 5 years, and among them was a fighter named Fi. The warriors met Master Li, who was interrogating a traitor, then killed him in front of them because he had refused to speak. Shortly after, Li raised a metal bar threatening everyone. Then all stepped back in terror except Fi. Li was surprised because Fi had not stepped back like his comrades. Fi answered him that he was not afraid because nothing scared him. Then Li was impressed by his firmness. After that, Li prepared a small test for all the warriors. He gave each warrior a cup and poured into it tea from a kettle that had been boiling on the fire for an hour. He started with the first warrior until the cup was full. The warrior could not bear the heat of the water and gave up. Then he poured the tea for the second warrior, and he could not stand it either and threw the cup to the ground. When it was Fi's turn, he remained patient and his hand turned red, but his face showed no emotion, and he stayed still without trembling. Then he drank the tea and placed the empty cup down. After that, Li gathered them and explained the reason for their summons and asked them to kill the leader of the North Sea Gang. Li said that whoever would bring him the head of the gang leader would be considered his fourth son and would take charge of the gang's affairs. He knew that what he was doing would ignite hostility between the two gangs, despite the peace treaty in effect between them, but he was ready for what would happen next. The following day, Fi went alone to the headquarters of the North Sea Gang, and after eliminating the leader's men, he faced him one-on-one. The fight began between them. Fi appeared to be a skilled fighter. He dodged the leader's attacks and struck his face and head with powerful punches, taking control of the fight's course. Then he threw a sword toward him, which struck a pillar before he rushed at the leader with all his strength and pushed him onto the blade of the sword, which cut off his head. And thus, Fi executed what Master Li had asked of him. Then Fi wrapped the leader's head in a piece of cloth and prepared to leave. But many men, about 100 fighters, surrounded him. However, Fi felt no fear. He grabbed one of the men, broke the window with him, and jumped into the street. But the men regrouped around him again, so Fi tied the cloth containing the head of the gang leader to his pants, then courageously threw himself toward them and fought them with his bare hands. He managed to eliminate a number of them, but they multiplied and attacked him until they knocked him to the ground. And before they could kill him, one of Fi's friends came and lit fireworks to distract the men of the North Sea Gang. Then they brought the unconscious Fi back to the headquarters of the Black Tiger Gang. Master Li wanted to take the head of the North Sea leader, but Fi held onto it tightly and refused to let it go. So Li said that Fi was his fourth son, the one he relied on, and that none of his 3 sons had managed to do what he did. Then he ordered them to take care of him and treat his wounds because he had become the fourth tiger. He also ordered them to hang the head of the North Sea leader at the port, so that all who entered and left would know which gang was the strongest. Then a man named Pictus took charge of treating Fi, who soon regained consciousness. We then go back in time to discover the story behind Fi's legendary strength. When he was young, he used to walk with his father, and Fi saw miserable, homeless children, among them a boy who had fainted. So Fi's father took the boy home and treated him with needles. Fi also had a girl he loved very much named Thao, and 2 friends, Fairy and Lin, who used to visit them and spend beautiful times together. But one day, men from the Black Tiger Gang kidnapped Thao to sell her and exploit her in prostitution dens. Fi gathered his friends, and they followed Thao before she was transferred. And the surprise was that the person who had kidnapped Thao was Master Li himself. The boys tried to save Thao, but they couldn't. Then Li fled. After that, Fi's father attacked Master Li, struck him, and put a knife to his head, demanding to know where Thao was. Li told him that he had sold Thao and that he would never reach her. So Fi's father spared his life, but to take revenge, Li burned down Fi's father's house, which had been sheltering the orphans. However, Phi's father saved the children and led them out. Then he went back into the fire because there were still children inside. But the flames caught his body, and he died, burned alive. The boys grieved deeply for the man who had taken care of them, learned medicine for their sake, and healed them. From that moment, a fire of vengeance ignited in Phi's soul, and he decided to take revenge on Li and rescue his beloved Thao. Phi agreed with his brother Fairy on the necessity of revenge. Then, they went to a monk who was a friend of Fairy's father. The monk began teaching them martial arts since childhood. He used to tell them that true revenge is to save people's souls. He continued to train them until they grew up and became powerful fighters. Then they made a plan to free Thao and take revenge on Master Li, who had become the leader of the Black Tiger Gang. The restoration of the rights of the oppressed was the beginning of that plan, and the first step was for Phi to join the Black Tiger Gang that took place at the beginning of the events of the film. As for the rest of the plan, we will see it unfold with the progression of events. We return to the present, where we see the son of the North Sea leader, named Long, looking at his father's head hanging in the market. He becomes enraged, injures himself, and swears revenge, promising to destroy the Black Tiger Gang. Meanwhile, Phi became the fourth tiger, and he had to perform the leadership ritual, which was to have the tiger tattoo drawn on his back. The tattoo artist was very talkative. He informed Phi of some information about the Black Tiger Gang. He told him that their treasure chest could only be opened with 2 keys, 1 gold and 1 silver. Each key was kept by one of the 3 tigers, specifically by the 2 who brought the most money to the gang. The first was nicknamed the Black Crow, responsible for gambling and betting, and the second was nicknamed the Snake, responsible for prostitution and human enslavement. After the tattoo was completed, Phi pledged allegiance and obedience to Master Li and officially became the 4th tiger. The first mission that Master Li assigned to him was to gather the men and lead them to confront the North Sea Gang. Phi eliminated the men of the gang and left none of them alive in order to impose the dominance of the Black Tiger. The mission was completed with great success, and the port came entirely under Black Tiger control. However, Long escaped in the middle of the chaos. After Phi's victory over the North Sea Gang, everyone began to fear and respect him. At night, Phi went out to fish. Then he gave the fish he caught to a poor man, but that man was Fairy, Phi's brother. Fairy brought the fish to the orphans he was taking care of and greeted his wife, the woman he had grown up with. Then he gathered his men and told them that they were the Orphans Gang, who would destroy the Black Tiger Gang, and they celebrated joyfully because Phi had succeeded in infiltrating the gang. That night, Phi dreamed of his late father and his friend Thao, who had been kidnapped, and he spent the entire night in a prostitution den with a girl. The next day, Phi returned to the headquarters of the Black Tiger Gang, where a small party was being held. It became clear that the 3rd tiger, named the Northern Demon, could not stand Phi, who noticed that and mocked him. The gang members laughed, but the Northern Demon attacked Phi with his stick. Phi remained calm and mocked him a second time. Then the Black Crow laughed, and the Northern Demon became furious and almost fought Phi. However, the entrance of Master Li ended the quarrel between them. The next day, Phi sat with Master Li during a meeting with foreign traffickers. The traffickers asked Li this time to kidnap 300 workers to send them abroad and test new forbidden substances on them. They promised him 5 shipments in exchange. Despite the difficulty of the mission, Li accepted. But Phi asked him if he could really kidnap 300 workers and deliver them to foreign traffickers. Then Li told Phi not to be so merciful, because the workers who worked for them were many, and he could use them to test the forbidden substances, and whoever refused would be killed. Li told Phi that if he wanted to be a leader like him, he must have a heart without mercy. Then he ordered his men to deceive the miserable workers and kidnap them. One of them came up with a trick, saying to the workers that he had found new jobs for them in exchange for a silver bar. So the workers followed him to a place that turned out to be a trap for them, and they were kidnapped to be handed over to the foreign traffickers. Meanwhile, Phi returned to the brothel and met the same girl he had seen in his dream. It turned out that she was Thao. His beloved since childhood, Phi told Thao secret information about the Black Tiger Gang, including the fact that their treasure chest could only be opened with 2 keys, and he asked her to deliver a message to his brother Fairy. Indeed, Thao gave the message to Lin, who passed it to her husband Fairy. The content of the message was that the man nicknamed the Snake, the holder of the golden key, would be at the market the next day, and Fairy should attack him with his men and make a copy of the key. The next day, Fairy observed the snake and then whistled. Then the orphans gathered around the snake while Fairy threw a knife at him, but it did not hit him. So the man nicknamed the snake ordered his men to pursue Fairy, while one of the boys stole the money pouch from the snake's pocket and threw it to one of them, and then the snake rushed after one of them to retrieve the pouch, but Lin pulled him toward a specific spot and they poured boiling oil on him. Then the orphans gang clashed with the snake's men and wiped them out. Fairy said to the snake, "You pretend to be a snake while you are only a glass?" Then he attacked him, and the orphans intervened to finish him off. They wrapped sticks around him and subdued him. Fairy then asked them to leave him to him because he would finish the job. He then delivered the fatal blow that killed him and stole the golden key. They made a copy of it. Then they returned the original key to the corpse of the snake. After that, the orphans gang threw the corpse of the snake and his men into the port. Master Li discovered what had happened, and his assistant tried to reassure him that the golden key had not been stolen. Master Li took the golden key and handed it to the Northern Demon, telling him that he and the Black Crow would be responsible for the chest keys because it had been decided that the snake was not worthy of holding the key. The Northern Demon thanked the master for the trust he placed in him and left. That night, as usual, Fi went out to fish. He gave the fish to his brother Fairy and secretly took from him the copy they had made of the golden key to complete the rest of the plan. Then he went to the Black Crow's gambling hall and decided to play and bet, intentionally losing. He borrowed once, then a second time, then a third, and he continued losing bets until he became indebted by 1,000 silver coins. When he approached the Black Crow, he said, "I want to borrow 3 more silver coins." However, the Black Crow first asked him to pay the 1,000 silver coins and warned him that he could be killed if he did not settle the debt he owed. Then Fi took out the golden key, of which Fairy had made a copy, and the Black Crow was astonished and asked him where he had gotten the key. Fi said that he had stopped a thief who was making a copy of the keys, and it turned out for Fi that the thief had been working for the Northern Demon, and it seemed that the Black Crow had fallen into Fi's trap because he said he sensed that the Northern Demon intended to steal the chest despite the trust Master Li had in him. Fi proposed to the Black Crow to also take the golden key so that both keys would be in his hands, allowing him to enter the chest and take from it as he wished. Then he continued with the plan to trap him in the revenge scheme, inciting him to stab the Northern Demon from behind before he could stab him as he had done with the snake, or he could return the key to Master Li. Finally, the Black Crow fell into the trap and took the golden key from Fi. He asked Fi to go with him to try the golden key. By opening the chest, Fi was pleased because this was exactly what he wanted, to know the location of the chest. The Black Crow took Fi to the chest, which was guarded by 3 guards. When they arrived at the chest, they found it filled with money stolen due to the gang's unjust acts and the plundering of the oppressed. Fi memorized the location and its details, then returned to fish and hid a message for Fairy in the fish. Fairy opened the message and discovered the location of the chest and all its details. Fi asked them to go and steal it. The next night, Master Li took Fi to the armory and deliberately made it so that Fi would be alone with him without guards, in order to lure the son of the North Sea Gang leader named Long, who wanted to try to kill them both because Long sought revenge on Fi for his father's death. It seemed that Master Li's plan succeeded. Long appeared with his men, and the fight began between Fi and Long, while Li fought Long's men. Despite his advanced age, Li remained a skilled fighter. Long continuously attacked Fi with his sword and tore his clothes. Fi in turn took a sword, and the fight became balanced between him and Long. Perhaps Long gained a slight advantage, driven by revenge. The glass broke, and the fight continued into the street. At that moment, the men of the Black Tiger Gang arrived and clashed with Long's men, who were controlling his duel with Fi and almost killed him. However, Master Li arrived and took the blow in the back instead of Fi, who returned to the attack and cut off Long's hand, forcing him to surrender completely. Fi raised his sword toward Long's chest. However, he did not want to kill him, and told him that he had no reason to do so. But Master Li pushed Fai's hand and forced him to kill him, and that was exactly what he wanted. Meanwhile, Fairy began executing the plan. He went out with the orphans gang and set fire to the gambling halls and prostitution dens. They freed the girls and burned the place, while Master Li watched the flames from a distance and felt great anger. Then he ordered Fai to act quickly. Fai did not obey Master Li's orders, but decided to go to Verlin, who had lured the Black Crow to a distant location. Then many men from the orphans' gang appeared, and the Black Crow understood everything and realized that Fai had tricked him. Then one reminded him of his father and mother, whom the Black Crow had killed because they refused to work for him. And it was confirmed to him that today they would take their right and the right of all the orphans. Then Fai closed the door, and they killed the Black Crow and took the silver key from him. At the same time, the Black Tiger gang pursued Fairy and surrounded him, leaving him no way to escape. Nevertheless, Fairy showed great courage, fighting them and killing a large number of them. However, their numbers overwhelmed him, and they captured him and brought him to Master Li, while Fai returned to the headquarters of the Black Tiger gang. He was shocked when he saw Fairy hanging, and Master Li was interrogating him to find out the identity of his partner. Fairy asked him not to waste his time on him because his comrades were now stealing Master Li's chest. Fairy was right. Carlin and the orphans gang had stormed the chest after getting both keys, the golden and the silver, and they distributed all the money to the townspeople. However, Master Li did not believe Fairy's words and decided to go himself with his men to the chest, after ordering them to force Fairy to reveal the identity of the person he was working with. And he did not know that it was Fai who wanted to free Fairy and escape with him. However, Fairy prevented him because he wanted to complete the plan at all costs and save the 300 workers, even if it required sacrificing himself. Master Li entered a state of extreme anger after realizing that the chest had been plundered and began suspecting the existence of a traitor within the gang. The location of the chest was extremely secret, and only the 3 tigers knew it. While he was pondering, Li was surprised by the arrival of his men presenting the corpse of the Black Crow, while the Northern Demon arrived, and Master Li's suspicions increased when he saw the mark of the Northern Demon's staff on the Black Crow's body. The truth was that Fai had received a blow from the Northern Demon's staff during the party, and he decided to engrave the same mark on the corpse of the Black Crow so that Master Li would suspect that the killer of the crow was the Northern Demon, who felt tense and had not killed him, even though there had been a conflict between them. However, Master Li was not convinced by his words. The Northern Demon went toward Fairy, raised his sword at him, and ordered him to reveal the identity of the traitor in the gang. Fairy made a clever gesture, whispering something inaudible into the Northern Demon's ear. Then he sacrificed himself and committed suicide using the Northern Demon's sword. Fai was petrified after the death of his brother, while Master Li's suspicions increased when he saw Fairy whispering into the Northern Demon's ear and asked him what Fairy had said before his death. The Northern Demon went mad and said he had said nothing. Then he took his men and left. He left the Northern Demon unpunished. However, he continued to suspect him. The next day, Fai sat with Xiao in a prostitution den. Mourning the separation from his brother Fairy, Xiao tried to calm him and asked him to continue the plan because they needed to get rid of the Northern Demon and Master Li. However, the problem was that the plan had been interrupted. It was supposed that one of them would eliminate the other, and Fai did not know how to fight both of them together. Xiao wanted to reassure him by saying she had another plan, but she did not reveal it to him. Later, Master Li asked Fai to accompany him during his meeting with the foreign traffickers to deliver the 300 workers next week. Fai went with him and stood at the location of the 300 workers, who were locked in cages like animals. Then the Northern Demon went to enjoy a massage, and 2 girls came to him, saying they had important information about the stolen chest. These 2 girls were Xiao and one who was disguised. Lan and Xiao were introduced to the Northern Demon, who recognized Xiao and asked if she was the same girl that Fai had been seeing. And he wondered how Fai had managed to trick him and how he had killed the snake, and the Black Crow Xiao wanted to gain the Northern Demon's trust in order to kill him, but she could not deceive him easily. So he captured her and killed her by strangulation. Then he turned to the second girl and asked her identity. Then El rushed and killed her with a knife. She then fled the place. Aina went to Fai and informed him of what had happened. Fai was shocked when he learned that his beloved Xiao had sacrificed herself and died, and that he had now lost 2 of his closest friends. Then Fi gathered the orphans' gang and told them that the time had come to revolt against the Black Tiger gang. He asked them to unite with the townspeople to overthrow the gang. They sent messages to all the workers and townspeople, inviting them to join, as the moment of uprising and the fight against the Black Tiger gang had come. They informed them about the 300 abducted workers who were to be sold to foreigners. Fi gathered his men and headed to the place where the 300 workers were held and freed them. Then the 300 workers decided to fight alongside Fi, while Master Li discovered what had happened and confirmed that Fi was the traitor. He then issued a proclamation stating that whoever brought Fi's head would become his sole son. As for Fi, he took his men to a distant location and began training them in kung fu. Meanwhile, Li's men killed the miserable townspeople to discover Fi's location. Days passed, and they could not find him until he suddenly appeared with his men heading toward Master Li's palace. The number of Fi's men was sufficient to annihilate Li's men. However, Fei did not want to shed more blood. He then challenged Master Li to a single duel. Master Li immediately accepted the challenge. Then they both entered the warehouse alone. Before the fight began, Fei set fire to the place so that Li would not survive if he lost, because he wanted to kill him the same way he had killed Fi's father. The duel began amid the flames, with Li attacking with all his strength, striking Fi, who remained solid. Fi fought with all his strength, and their powers were balanced. The fire intensified, and Fi and Li went upstairs, with Fi starting to control the situation more, driven by his determination to finish Li. He struck him while he was in the air. However, Li blocked the strike, and Fi almost fell. He returned to the fight with his skill until the factor of age affected the duel. Li was no longer able to continue, especially with the intense heat. Fi struck him in the face and body. Then he kicked him, and Li almost fell into the fire. However, Fi caught him and refused to let him die. But Li's pride would not allow him to be saved by Fi, and he chose death rather than live indebted to his life. He threw himself into the fire and burned to death. Outside, the Black Tiger gang fled after learning of their master Li's death. From that day on, the city was freed from corruption and injustice. Then Fi opened a school to teach kung fu after becoming the leader of the entire city.